Good morning. Let's get this party started. A live look outside over Lookout Mountain. A little cloudy out there today. Good morning. I'm Lauren Scafidi. Let's check in with Weather Impact meteorologist Chris Spears. And Chris, we're going to be warm this weekend, but then we're in for a rude awakening next week.
The Colorado coaster, as we like to say, is coming to town, Lauren, and it's going to do a lot for us in terms of a big temperature swing and some precipitation, which that is some good news because our state is very dry right now. But we have 3 days to get through in terms of being very warm. In fact, near records tomorrow and Monday. It'll turn windy tomorrow into Monday. In fact, the fire danger might become at the level where they issue some advisories or some warnings. So we'll have to pay attention to that. And then Tuesday, the big changes arrive. 20s for the most part in the high country this morning. Gunnison, you are sitting right at 20, 19 in Kremling, 44 in Grand Junction there in the valley, 31 in Ray, 47 for a warm spot along the Front Range in Castle Rock right now. It's going to warm nicely today. Mostly sunny skies statewide, only some mid and high level clouds filtering through from time to time. 60s and 70s, pretty common. From the mountains to the plains, we'll be in the 50s once you are above about 9,500 feet. There's a little weather system up here in Montana dragging a few mid and high level clouds through the state. But what we are really watching is this ridge of high pressure that's going to move off to the east, allowing this big trough to drop in for Tuesday. Coming up in the main weather, we'll take a look at this in closer detail.
Thank you so much, Chris. We have some breaking news for you this morning. Right now, 3 northbound lanes of I-25 are closed near Highway 36 after a shooting. Police say one man was shot. He was taken to the hospital. They say his injuries are not life-threatening. The Adams County Sheriff's Office says they have found people who might be associated with the shooting, but they didn't specify how many people were involved. We'll keep you updated on air and on 9news.com as we learn more. Right now, the El Paso County Sheriff's Office is asking for your help finding this 13-year-old boy. The Sheriff's Office says Adani went missing around 3:40 in the afternoon yesterday. He was last seen leaving the Jack Swigert Aerospace Academy in Colorado Springs. If you've seen him, give the Sheriff's Office a call at the number on your screen. Westminster police say a student in the Adams 12 school district avoided a kidnapping on Friday. It happened just after 7 o'clock in the morning on West 125th Avenue between Mountain Range High School and Silver Hills Middle School. Police say a girl told them she was threatened by a driver with a gun and was told to get in the car. The student said the driver then tried to grab her backpack. She made it to school and reported what happened. The girl said the man was driving a silver car. Police have not released any other description of the car or the suspect. Police say the man who posed as a rideshare driver and sexually assaulted women in the Denver area has been convicted. 41-year-old John Pastor Mendoza has been convicted of 20 charges. A report says between 2018 and 2022, he picked up women outside of Denver bars who were expecting a rideshare and would sexually assault them in his car or take them to another location. Surveillance video from the nightclub tracks helped identify Pastor Mendoza. He's set to be sentenced in March. After charging a teenager with murder for a shooting 2 weekends ago, the DA in Adams County now says the shooter was actually a different teenager. The shooting happened at Rotella Park back on October 12th. 2 teenagers were shot. One of them was killed. Days after the incident, the Adams County Sheriff's Office arrested a teenager for the shooting, but on Friday, the DA's office charged a different teenager with murder. They say the original suspect is now only being charged with being a minor in possession of a gun. Mesa County's Republican clerk says that her team is looking at all the mail-in ballots they've received to see if a voter fraud scheme is worse than they realize. They found a dozen fraudulent ballots. She says she's frustrated that Colorado's Democratic Secretary of State announced this investigation when an arrest hasn't been made. The 12 suspect ballots were flagged by a sorting computer because the signatures on the envelopes didn't match the voter signatures on file. But then a human election judge approved 3 of the ballot signatures as accurate and did allow those ballots to be counted. There is no way to track them or uncount them now. Republican clerk Bobby Gross tells us that the ballots were stolen from voters of various party affiliations, Democrat, Republican, and unaffiliated. But she doesn't know which candidates the voter fraud was supposed to benefit because the 9 other fraudulent ballots weren't opened. That doesn't happen until the signatures are verified.
All of those ballots are not opened because they didn't make it through the process, so they are never unsealed. And so those will go into evidence with the district attorney.
The district attorney is Republican Dan Rubenstein. He just finished a successful prosecution of the former Republican Mesa County Clerk Tina Peters for tampering with the election system in an unsuccessful search for election rigging. Peters was sentenced to 9 years. Turning to the race for president, former President Donald Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris will be in Michigan this weekend. Today is their first day of early voting statewide there. Trump will hold a rally in Novi today, and Harris will be joined by former First Lady Michelle Obama for the first time on the campaign trail. It comes after both presidential hopefuls spent Friday in Texas making big plays with big names to reach voters. NBC's Bree Jackson has the latest from the campaign trail. See if we have that story for you. Moving on, making national headlines, the former CEO of Abercrombie & Fitch pleaded not guilty to charges related to sex trafficking. He was in a New York federal courtroom on Friday. Michael Jeffries and 2 other associates were arrested earlier this week. The 16-count indictment alleges that they ran a sex trafficking scheme between 2018 and 2015. They're accused of targeting men who wanted to become models for the iconic brand. Jeffries stepped down as CEO in 2014. He remains free on a $10 million bond and must remain on home confinement. He's due back in court on December 12th. Also making headlines, Delta is suing CrowdStrike after computer problems led to a nearly week-long service outage and thousands of canceled flights this summer. In the lawsuit filed on Friday, Delta said CrowdStrike committed a series of intentional and grossly negligent acts that caused the global IT outage on July 19th. The airline said it had to cancel 7,000 flights over 5 days, and the tech troubles cost Delta $500 million. They also say it harmed their reputation. CrowdStrike said Delta's claims are based on misinformation, and the airline is just trying to shift blame for its slow recovery from the outage. A judge in New Mexico has upheld her own decision to dismiss an involuntary manslaughter charge against Alec Baldwin. Back in 2021, Baldwin, the lead actor and co-producer on the movie Rust, was pointing a gun at cinematographer Helena Hutchins during a rehearsal. The gun went off. It killed her and hurt the director. In her ruling, the judge said prosecutors didn't raise any factual or legal arguments that would justify reversing her decision.